Hello, Cineasts and cinephiles of YouTube. I'm Bill Robertson, and welcome to my fantasy island of film reviews. Today I'm going to talk to you about Blade Runner 2049. This is a movie I have been dreading, but excited about too. Half and half. After Ridley Scott went back to the Alien franchise, when he decided to go back and revisit the old properties that used to make him money when he wasn't cranking out as many Oscar movies as he once was, Prometheus was just kind of a letdown, and I was afraid that Blade Runner would probably follow the same dull and pointless route. Anyway, I was wrong. Blade Runner 2049 is excellent. There are some problems. I have a few issues with it. Nothing that ruins it, though. I would definitely go watch it again and buy it. However, here's the issues I have. It does the same thing that Prometheus did with Alien. It took the same exact plot and pretty much repackaged it. Just like they did with The Force Awakens and Star Wars Episode 4. They basically took the same exact plot, switched some things around, shuffled the plot decker a little bit, changed a few of the face cards. Oh, Luke's now a girl, Rey, that kind of thing. This time, we know for sure he's a Blade Runner, or we know for sure he's a replicant. The Blade Runner is a replicant, and a few other things. But that's the only issue. It feels more like a reboot than it does a sequel. And here's why. It starts off with the exact same situation as the original Blade Runner started off. Blade Runner interviewing a potential replicant, because that's what Blade Runners do. They retire rogue replicants. In the first movie, a Blade Runner is interviewing a replicant. The replicant kills the Blade Runner. In this movie, the Blade Runner kills the replicant. Just same thing, just shuffled the plot cards a little bit. From there, he discovers this is where it actually gets good, because he discovers a box of bones buried in this replicant's yard, and which sets the mystery in motion. That's one thing that the original Blade Runner lacked. It was supposedly a sci-fi film noir hybrid, which means detective story, but there wasn't mystery. There was no mystery. Here, an actual mystery is set up with this buried box of bones. However, that's not where it diverges from the original plot, really. From there, the replicant, Kay, who's played by Ryan Gosling, who's really great, he proceeds to solve this mystery of the buried box of bones. And one of the other things that was similar but a little bit harder to catch, this was a more clever reshuffle of the original. In the original, Deckard gets the damning evidence in a pile of photographs. And he's sitting at home in his apartment, and he's looking through them on his computer, and he's saying, enhance, stop, enhance, move right, enhance. And this one, though, I caught it right off the bat, but it was a lot more slick and less obvious than a lot of the other nods to the original or rip-offs from the original. When they're looking at the bones, Kay, Ryan Gosling's character, is doing the enhance and stop, and it was kind of a cool nod to the Deckard scene in the first movie. Another thing that really I thought was ridiculous as why do we need to make this reference to the original was there's a human prostitute in this one who looks exactly almost identical to Pris, who's the replicant prostitute in the original Blade Runner. Now we shuffle the deck and we've got exact same character. It's Pris again, but this time it's a human. And it's things like that just kind of irritated me. They didn't ruin it or anything, but I noticed them. They were kind of glaring, and whatever. It's cool. Whatever. It worked out. Like Kay's story. The first hour and a half of the movie, first 2 hours of the movie, when it's just Kay, when it's just Ryan Gosling solving the mystery, it's awesome. Because not only does he unravel this mystery, and you also get introduced to the world that of 2049, you also see that Kay has a girlfriend. And it's an artificial intelligence hologram that lives in his apartment. And that was a really cool addition. That was probably like taking the Rachel and Deckard relationship from the original movie and being like, okay, now we're going to actually explore this to artificial life forms, because I'm in the camp that Deckard is a replicant, and if he's not a replicant, he's some kind of weird hybrid something. But anyway, the relationship between Deckard and Rachel in the first movie is just kind of wooden. It's just kind of there. In this movie, though, the relationship between Kay and his hologram girlfriend is really cool, the way that unfolds, and shows that Kay is more human than human, which is kind of the point of these Blade Runner films, is the artificial intelligence ends up having more empathy, more humanity than the human characters. And that was a very welcome addition in this movie. Again, they take the exact, like, they don't have a Tyrell in this movie, but they have a Wallace, and he's the exact same thing. Genius inventor, got a problem with his eyes. This time he's blind. The other guy had big, thick pop bottle glasses, and the Tyrell had big, thick pop bottle glasses in the first movie. Now this one, Wallace is blind, but does the same thing pretty much. Lives in the same kind of palatial, huge pyramid building, pretty much. It's just, and the Rachel character in this one is more of a major domo than, I forget what her name is in this movie, but it's Wallace's major domo, and she's kind of an assassin replicant. Whereas in the original Blade Runner, Rachel was Tyrell's major domo, but she was more just a straight up secretary. So that was another throwback to the original reshuffling of the plot of the first movie. I was very concerned about the music. One of my favorite parts of the original Blade Runner is the score, Vangelis' score. I love it. I have the CD. I love that music. And I was really concerned about what the music would sound like in this movie. And Hans Zimmer is great, but I was just, it's not Vangelis, so what's he going to do? He's just going to probably like rip it off and try and do his own version of it. And I guess that's what he did. He borrowed a lot from Vangelis' score, but the score in this movie is fantastic. And if you go to the theater and watch it, or if you buy it and you've got a really great sound system at home, you're going to love it. It sounds fantastic. It fills the room. And it takes what Vangelis did, and he adds his own modern, updated nuances to it, and the soundtrack is great. No problem there. The look of the film, great. It's just too long. Like, they knew that they had to hurry up and make this movie before Harrison Ford got too much older. And because they had to put him in it, or probably nobody would go watch it. And they shoehorn him in the last half hour or so of the movie. And that's where the movie kind of slows down for me and starts feeling kind of unnecessary. Because he doesn't seem like Deckard to me. But then again, Deckard didn't have like any kind of like notable personality in the original movie. And in this one, he just seems like he's being Harrison Ford. He's wearing a jeans and t-shirt, and he doesn't have very much dialogue at all. He punches Ryan Gosling a lot, and that's about it. But he doesn't have much dialogue. He drowns in water a little bit. He punches Ryan Gosling around a little bit, shoots his gun a little bit, and that's about it. and it slowed way down at that point. The first hour and a half, 2 hours, when it's Ryan Gosling, Kay's character, and you see the mystery and his relationship to the world of Los Angeles 2049, and his relationship to his artificial intelligence girlfriend and the police force that he works for, and Wallace's corporate. That was really fascinating. Makes the movie worth the watch. But once Harrison Ford comes in, it just feels like it's shoehorned in there just because we need to have Harrison Ford in here. And that's another thing that annoys me. Harrison Ford spent 30 years kind of crapping on Han Solo and Rick Deckard, but now all of a sudden he's back to do them after his career was in a slump for a decade or so after 6 Days and 7 Nights, which I liked, but right after that movie came out, he just kind of went off the radar for a long time. But now all of a sudden he decides that, okay, I'll come back and do Han Solo, I'll come back and do Rick Deckard, probably because the paycheck was pretty big. I know he's going to say, well, I like the script. Well, for the right amount of money, anybody likes a script. So I'm not saying that's what it is or isn't, but it's just what it seems to me. Anyway, it feels like Harrison Ford's just kind of like, okay, we got to get him in here, get in there. And he was like, okay, pay me. And he got in there and did some stuff, but he didn't seem like a character. He just seemed like he was playing himself, just being Harrison Ford. He seemed more like Harrison Ford than anything else to me. And I don't know. I think the end needs to be trimmed way down. It slows down at the end when he shows up, and it just seems unnecessary and overdrawn. I saw the movie in 3D. I don't think it's necessary to see it in 3D. There's nothing about the movie that warrants the extra money and wearing the glasses and putting up with the theater not having the camera adjusted right to watch it in 3D. So just watch it in 2D. If you want to watch it in 3D, go ahead. But I would like to see it again. I'd like to watch it in 2D just to not be distracted by having the glasses on my face for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Anyway, I give Blade Runner 2049 2 thumbs. It's great. It is a fantastic movie. Up until the last half hour, then it kind of slows down. But Blade Runner 2049, excellent. Until next time, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll love you forever. I'm Bill Robertson. See ya.